enjoying a 24-3 lead over BYU. That's Old Main, the first building ever built on campus. Rod, that A for Aggies is white now, but only on special occasions. And if they get a big win, will they turn it blue?
Wow.
A lot of folks thinking they're going to be looking at a blue A.
That could happen
in just about 2 hours. So there was an interesting first half in terms of the change in what we saw from Utah State a week ago to what we saw tonight. Burrell was 6 of 8, 133 yards, had the touchdown. He looked really good. As we look at our game track, brought to you by Fidelity Investments.
You know, we talked about him not doing too much as he tried in the past, but he's done the right thing tonight. He's used his feet appropriately to get a touchdown. He's made big runs and able to get out and get his team in good position. He's made the good throw. And then on the other side of it, you know, Jake Heaps, 11 of 21 with a pick. You know, a little struggling to get the ball down the field. They've had the short passes, but they had nothing deep down the field as Utah State knocked everything away.
Utah State have the ball first here. Williams, penalty markers come in as Williams gets it to the 20. Try to sort things out here. Referee Terry Layden.
During the kick return, holding number 26 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Gavin Jones, backup linebacker for Coach Gary Anderson. 46-year-old, his second season here at Utah State. He was the defensive coordinator for BYU's rival, the Utah Utes. Now up here in Logan, looking for a big win against the Cougars. Burrell being chased in his own end zone and almost complete. What an athletic throw by Burrell, but Watkins could not hold on to it.
That's a throw you really don't teach quarterbacks to make. Running to your right, throwing back across your body. That is usually dangerous to do. Watkins had a chance to pick it up, but couldn't get it. But you're taking chances when you roll right like that and throw back towards the middle.
Watkins had a touchdown catch against Oklahoma in that good outing they had that night. And now Burrell, look at that shake move. How about that?
Oh, man.
DeAndre Burrell just juking Drenya Laie.
Watch Laie just completely taken out of his shoes. That's the second time tonight.
Illegal formation.
Like that.
5 backs in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Second down will be repeated.
So it's coming back with the illegal formation. At 5 in the backfield. And you get a sense of the athleticism of Burrell. So it'll back them up to the 5 and make for a 2nd and 15. Spate, and he is wrapped up right away. Pendleton was in on the tackle, as was Matt Putnam. There's Pendleton. Told you his father Kirk played wide receiver at BYU. His brother-in-law is Austin Collie on the Indianapolis Colts. Third and 13 now for the senior quarterback in the Aggies. Pressure, escapes, looking for a block, and he is forced out at the 13-yard line. Shane Hunter tracking him down. The pressure came from Jadon Wagner.
Well, he was half a beat away from being sacked for a safety. I mean, watch Wagner get in there with the pressure, and had he grabbed his foot, he would have had him for a safety, but little Houdini act there.
So Loveless will be punting from his own end zone. And they scatter from this punt, which takes a BYU bounce and is downed at the 43-yard line. Saturday Night Football continues on ABC. Great battle in the Pac-10. Couple of Heisman candidates with Andrew Luck and LaMichael James. Number 4 Oregon, number 9 Stanford. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. 8 o'clock start time on ABC and ESPN2, because some of you may see the battle between Notre Dame and Boston College, that heated rivalry taking place in Chestnut Hill tomorrow night. Heaps to pass on first down and gets it to his running back out of the backfield, Pariah.
Yeah, Tess, that's a big game tomorrow night, and that's a big-time quarterback in Andrew Luck. I've seen a few of them, and I think he's the best one in the country right now.
You know, I marvel at the fact that when we started this year, everybody was raving about the 2 Pac-10 quarterbacks and had Locker ahead of Luck. A month into the season, you don't hear that conversation much anymore, do you?
No, he's playing well, but I think he would certainly say he can play better.
Here's DeLuigi. Cuts back against the grain and then is wrapped up by Junior Keohel.
3 years ago, when Jim Harbaugh got Andrew Luck, he made it clear he thought that he got the best quarterback coming out of high school that year. Despite what all the rating services said, he thought Luck back then was the best one.
Well, the ratings services a year ago were saying Jake Heaps was the best coming out. Now he faces a 3rd and 3 for BYU, does the true freshman. And able to pick up the first down, finding his running back J.J. DeLuigi out of the backfield. So Heaps trying to get fired up here.
Yeah, and he was going all the way to DeLuigi. He watched him entirely as Luigi was running an option route, trying to decide whether he wanted to work inside or outside. Heaps stared him down and waited for DeLuigi to make his decision.
Fresh set of downs for the Cougars. Desperate to get on the board here, mount a comeback. To the end zone, flag comes in. Ashworth couldn't hold on to it, but Marsh may have been on him a little too tight.
Yeah, the pass interference rule is that you cannot impede a receiver going to the ball, and that can be done by grabbing, pulling, touching, running into him. The mere contact is not pass interference.
There is no foul on the play. Second down.
So they pick it up.
Yeah. So you're not looking for just contact. It has to impede the catch. Now that left arm looked like it got there early. I'm surprised that they didn't stick with the call.
You feel that clearly the left arm didn't allow for him to bring his arms up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could have called that impeding his ability to make the catch with that left arm draping across the front of the body.
2nd and 10 now for Heaps. Lofts it. And McKay Jacobson was the intended target, but he was bracketed as Chris Randall had good coverage there. Safety came over to help. And you see over on the sidelines, Riley Nelson started the first 3 games for BYU, season-ending shoulder surgery. So it puts Heaps in this spot where it's all on his shoulders. 3rd and 10. Incomplete. He put it on the money for DeLuigi. Bobby Wagner stayed with him step for step, but Heaps had that target.
I tell you one thing, he can throw the deep ball.
That's a good throw, Rob.
He can throw the deep ball. That's the second throw we've seen that was out there on the money, got there in a hurry. This young man can throw the deep ball.
So they will send out Mitch Payne. 48-yard attempts. His career long is 49. And he is off the mark. Had the distance, didn't have the direction. Coming up next, we storm the dorm. We'll uncover an on-campus tradition that reveals how dedicated these Utah State fans are. Storm the Dorm is next. Time to storm the dorm, our chance to show you the student experience during game week on campus. The Herd is a student group here at Utah State. Ultimate Aggies fan Wild Bill explains.
Hi, I'm Wild Bill. On this campus, Utah State University in beautiful Logan, Utah. We're camping out tonight for the BYU game, and we're getting ready. We're gonna party all night long and then stampede down tomorrow to the stadium and get crazy. One of our favorite chants is the Scotsman. You guys ready? Yeah!
There they are doing it in the stadium, the Scotsman. By the way, Wild Bill, Rod, has shown up in the New York Post Sports Center, stormed the dorm a year ago, and ESPNU live in Charlotte. He's all over the place.
Doing the Scotsman?
Not always doing the Scotsman, usually shirtless. Kerwin Williams taken down there, but he is all Aggies all day.
I just wonder if the Scotsman's going to catch on with you.
Keep wondering. 2nd and 15 now. Burrell, option. Williams able to get to the edge, but not making all that much of it, as Nilaye was able to pursue.
Yeah, this BYU run defense came into the game giving up an average of 264 yards a game. So unlike a BYU defense, and they really do miss Romney Unga on the inside. Fuga.
Burrell complete to Kellen Bartlett, and a first down for the Aggies.
You know, that run defense, when Romney Fuga isn't a part of the run defense, I mean, you're talking about being able to control the middle, and every defense wants to start by controlling the middle.
Utah State is 8 for 11 now on 3rd downs. Spate gets the call this time. And he gets out to the 50. Now BYU is minus Romney Fuga. Here's what happened against Nevada. And Rod, this is tough to watch.
Yeah, it's an ugly play. It's a clip occurs right there in the middle of the screen there. It is actually a legal block because it occurred within the tackle box, tackle to tackle. It's a legal clip, but that doesn't make it good.
Spate comes up just a yard short of the line to make. You know, there's such an emphasis on safety in the game. And you say that's a legal play, but you just have to wonder at times.
No, the competition committee should get rid of that. I mean, if you're going to protect defenseless players and quarterbacks, there is nothing more defenseless than what you just saw there.
We got a whistle here. It's 3rd and 1.
Timeout.
Utah State was quick to line up into the Wildcat. And BYU says we're not quite ready for that on 3rd and 1. They're going to take a timeout, trailing by 21.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Toyota. and Farmers Insurance. Find a knowledgeable local farmers agent at farmers.com. We are insurance. We are farmers.
Glad you're with us here in the Friday night prime time. Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore in Logan, Utah, where Utah State is up by 21 on BYU. 3rd and 1 after the timeout by BYU. Utah State. Wildcat formation again. And Williams has it and a lot more. Kerwin Williams to the 30-yard line. This Aggies offense has found the right gear tonight. 17-yard run on the Wildcat.
Take a look at how they pull the guard around here. Nakula right there with that block opens up the lane there.
This time nowhere to go for Williams. Kyle Van Noy surged into that offensive backfield. He's a young player who's gaining valuable experience, a freshman out of Reno. Burrell back in now in the gun. Empty backfield on 2nd and 13. Williams now joins him. And he gets it right over the middle to his receiver Watkins. And Watkins with a good run after the catch for a first down.
Yeah, this depleted defense is really struggling, and the injuries have taken a toll. As you see Romney Fuga there. And I got to finish my point on the clipping. I think they ought to change that rule, and that the only time you're allowed to clip is when a guy is directly in front of you. You can't blindside somebody or get him from the side or from behind with a clip.
Fuga was the victim of a clip that caused an injury. The pitch to Williams to the corner, trying for the end zone and coming up just short as Jordan Pendleton was able to get a piece of him. Good block by the receiver Eric Moats on that play.
Moats really opened up the downfield at the end of this play. You can't get big runs downfield without your receivers making great blocks. Now watch to the right of your screen. You missed the end over there, but good blocking out there by Moats. Open that up.
Back-to-back 16-yard plays for the Aggies offense. And now 1st and goal. Spate. Nowhere to go that time. Kyle Vanoy and Shane Hunter wrapping him up for that BYU defense. Vanoy is starting because Jamison Frazier, the starting linebacker most of the season, is out after surgery on a broken hand. And more bad news for BYU as Jordan Pendleton is down on the ground.
Well, we saw Andrew Rich leave earlier tonight in the ball game.
Bronco Mendenhall just having one of those years.
Well, you think about all the injuries to that defense. You take Fuga out, you take Frazier out, and you take Rich out tonight. It just piles up on this BYU defense, and you can see why their run defense and their scoring defense is doing such a poor job this season.
You know, the one thing that I think a lot of fans forget sometimes when you deal with college football is how big injuries are. This isn't the NFL. You can't go out and get a free agent the week of a game. You got your rosters, you have scholarship limitations. Your depth chart is a little thin to begin with when you start the season, and then you start getting all these injuries, and it's tough to catch up.
And if you have less than your full allotment of 85 scholarships and you take injuries or hits, you've got a real problem. And so the depth is really a big concern. And guys start dropping like flies like you see here tonight. They've got a real problem. And let's go back to that clip, legal clip last week that took Fuga out right there in the middle of your screen. And again, I think that ought to be illegal. It's legal this year, but I think the competition committee ought to take a look at this kind of stuff and take it out completely and allow only cut blocking when you're facing a man.
Once again, Rod, and we'll look at that right there. Explain to folks at home what the rule is in terms of that clip. I mean, that vicious blow to the lower extremity that takes a guy out for the year. as you can see Pendleton coming off the field.
Well,
explain to folks why that's legal.
Well, basically, there's cut blocking allowed within the tackle-to-tackle box. You know, you don't allow guys to come from outside. A wide receiver can't come into that box and cut low. But linemen within that box can cut. Now, even when the ball goes beyond it, it's still within that box. You can still cut. And I just think that they ought to change that rule. I mean, I know offensive coaches want to get guys on the ground so they can throw the ball, so they can get to the edge. But I just think it's so dangerous for players, you got to change that rule.
So 2nd and goal. They switch up the formation, and bringing it in was Spate in the backfield now. Burrell is trying to wiggle his way free, but he is cut down by Shane Hunter. And make for a 3rd and goal at the 1. Hunter's a first-year starter. He has 8 tackles on the night, and they're going to have to rely on him with some of the injuries they've already taken to this defense. Pendleton, Andrew Rich, perhaps their best defensive player. Spate. He gets in. And Utah State is just slicing through this BYU defense.
That's 10 years of frustration. 10 years of waiting for a chance to get even with BYU for all the beatings Utah State has absorbed.
Loveless puts the extra point through. A 12-play drive. A lot of damage done on the run. The Cache Valley Courthouse. Beautiful look there and a beautiful scoreboard for the locals. That spins should be a good one. Utah State. They're hoping that things maintain their way here as they are way out in front. Interesting look here in Logan. 31-3. Merlin Olsen Field at Romney Stadium. One of the greats of all time played here. And this is Falslev. He's out to the 25-yard line. Take a look at our coverage spotlight brought to you by Travelers Insurance.
Oh, the coverage of the Utah State defense has been outstanding. They've basically taken away the deep ball. Heats on some trickeration. Can't get it done. Good coverage back there by Coleman. And then another good play down in the end zone by McClinton. Defending the goal line and taking away the deep ball. That's our coverage.
Jake Heaps, the true freshman quarterback. And he gets this complete to Jacobson. There's the defensive coordinator for Utah State, Bill Bush.
Yep, right there to your left.
And when he's not coaching defense, he's critiquing Rod Gilmore's Friday fantasy football picks.
Yeah, he's seen some of my bad picks over the weeks.
He watches every one, and he's quite outspoken about what you've been doing. And here's a completion over the middle to Matthews, and a good gainer down to the 35-yard line. As Jake Heaps, you know, it's that time in a young man's career where you kind of learn on the job, don't you, Rod?
You have to. I mean, he's the guy. I mean, they had a 2-quarterback system earlier with Nelson, but he's the guy after Nelson got hurt. And he's got to weather through the storm. He's going to have some growing pains.
Pressure up the middle, they pick it up, and he goes where they came from. J.J. DeLuigi inside the 5-yard line. A smart toss by Heaps.
Well, great recognition. Right away, he recognized the defense and found his guy. Didn't take much time. He saw right away the pressure inside, knew the middle was open, and dropped it to DeLuigi very easily.
32-yard reception by DeLuigi. Correa. Wow, good defense that time. Utah State's Jake Dowdy flying in there. to get to Correa. Heaps to pass on 2nd and goal, and he overthrows the fullback, Zed Mendenhall. The second cousin of the head coach. Mendenhall was wide open, and Heaps was hopped up there.
Well, I think he just forgot that he was throwing to a fullback and not a wide receiver. You got to make it as easy as possible to your back coming out of the back there.
Yeah, at 5'11", 239, I don't think Mendenhall's going to have the yeast to rise up and get that.
Not a 40-inch vertical.
So on 3rd and goal, DiLuigi comes back in. To the outside. Can he get the edge? No. Taken down for a loss. Gallagher and Wagner combining there.
Well, Wagner made the play. Wagner took on the blocker, stayed alive, stayed to the outside, and made the play. Look at that. He got in with the left shoulder, protected the off arm, the right arm, stayed free to the outside, and was able to make the play.
10 tackles on the night for Bobby Wagner. 4th and goal. And a timeout called by Utah State. Gary Anderson. You imagine the emotion, the week that he's had, and now the night that he's had. He's been fired up all night long, Rod.
Well, he was worried about his neck most of the week, been seeing doctors, and wasn't sure he'd be able to be on the field for 3-4 hours. But he's been intense, emotional, has stepped away to catch his breath from time to time. And it seems like Monday when he fainted, passed out after a stressful week and not taking care of himself, ignoring food and sleep and the kinds of things that a lot of coaches do.
Yeah, it's been actually, unfortunately, a common theme in college football, as we saw with Mark D'Antonio suffering a mild heart attack and the health condition with Urban Meyer last December, and now Gary Anderson taking a spill, lightheaded, said not keeping up with his health, but got healthy this week, and now his team has responded.
Yeah, I think he'll be getting those physicals annually now after he said he went 20 years without one.
Heaps out of the gun on 4th and goal. Has time to the end zone. A flag came in. Cody Hoffman was the target he was looking for. Chris Randall had coverage, but a flag came in the far corner of the end zone.
Holding, number 7 of the defense. This penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Whoa. It can't be a touchdown. He didn't catch it. You got to catch the ball for it to be a touchdown. Am I wrong?
Correction, the holding penalty will be half the distance to the goal, and 4th down will be repeated.
Here's a look.
Yeah, now Chambers is trying to make sure he didn't let him get to the inside. That's why he held him, but there was no catch there.
So 1st and goal. Correa dotting the I as the back. He gets the call, tries to go airborne, and he's going to come up short. Heaps is arguing for the spot on the goal line, but it's being marked down. Take a look.
Good penetration from the edge by Jake Dowdy. 51 came off the edge on the right side and was actually able to grab legs.
Correa. This time he powers his way in. Brian Correa. So BYU, 3:44 to go in the 3rd, and their first touchdown of the night. and puts the extra point through. 31-10. Coverage of the Ryder Cup continues on ESPN Saturday morning from Wales. The American team, of course, facing pressure to repeat, taking on the favored Europeans who are looking to reclaim the Ryder Cup. The 2010 Ryder Cup on ESPN live Saturday, 3 a.m. Looked like they needed submarines to cover that coverage today. Some of the worst golf weather you could ever see as they struggled to continue play, so they will pick things up live at 3 a.m. Eastern.
So you figure the way it works is you don't have the rain, you watch the Ryder Cup, you get Sports Center at 8 a.m., and then guess what happens at 9 a.m.?
Game day.
Yeah, so you might as well just stay up.
So, you know, just pull them all nighter.
Yeah, exactly.
The live Ryder Cup, bring you right up to Sports Center and game day, and then at that point, Rod, you got to stay on the couch for college football all day long.
Oh, no doubt.
Williams will take a knee. Of course, ESPNU 9 a.m. Eastern. ESPN's College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Then 10 a.m. to noon, it moves over to ESPN. And you know that Eugene, Oregon is going to be rocking.
Yeah, well, when they
Duck fans, they got the duck call going.
When they start that tailgate tomorrow morning, it'll be dark.
They may have started it tonight.
It'll be dark at 6 a.m. in the morning, West Coast time, when game day hits the air.
Chris Lee, Kirk Desmond, Aaron Andrews, Stanford, Oregon. Tomorrow night, game day is going to get the day started up there at Eugene. We're going to have a feature on Stanford's two-way star, Owen Marisic.
I will tell you this. I've played in Autzen Stadium, and it is a loud, difficult place in which to play.
Probably not the biggest place, but arguably the loudest stadium in college football.
Tough place.
DiMartino. And he turns it upfield out to the 30. Florida, Alabama. That'll be a dandy as Mark Ingram, after missing the first two games, has been on a tear. Let's see how they handle the Gators. Of course, Texas, Oklahoma. You know what happened in Texas against UCLA. That'll be on ABC at 3:30. Can they bounce back against Landry Jones? And then the big one in the Pac-10 at 8 o'clock on ABC or ESPN2. Some of you may see Boston College and Notre Dame. Inside handoff this time to DiMartino. As the clock is under 3 minutes here in the third, where Utah State and Coach Gary Anderson, this would mean so much to them. I know BYU is down, and this isn't your typical BYU team. The injuries, the freshman quarterback, players they've lost. But when you've lost 10 straight to an in-state rival, it means a lot.
You think they care? You think
they do not care at all?
No, the Utah State fans do not care about BYU's issues right now.
Williams on 3rd and 2, and he's going to be short of the line to make. Jaden Wagner wrapped him up. See Bronco Mendenhall's squad. He's won the last 10 of the series. Gary Anderson knows what this would mean. He talked to us a lot yesterday about recruiting in-state. Obviously, their #1 priority. They now have 45 players on this roster who come from the state of Utah.
You always want to build your program by protecting your neighborhood.
Jacobson shakes free at the 20 and then is taken down. BYU started off the year defeating Jake Locker and Washington, but then Air Force, Florida State, and Nevada. Now that's a tough stretch. You know Florida State's got talent. Air Force is playing great football. Nevada's now a top 25 team.
Well, this goes to the point we made early on in the show, which is they very well could wind up out of postseason mix by losing tonight. Yeah,
this game could play a big factor in that. Heaps to a streaking Jacobson, and then he lost his footing. But a good throw by Jake Heaps.
And here comes that sense of urgency again. I mean, if you fall to 1-4 and you haven't played TCU and Utah and Wyoming and Air Force yet, that's challenging.
Heaps down the middle again, this time overthrowing his intended target, Cody Hoffman. They were down 31-3. The largest comeback under Bronco. It's only 11 points.
Well, you know, right now, you don't worry about the score. You worry about winning a series. You worry about getting points on the board.
Heaps finding his target out of the backfield. Maria, who scored the touchdown moments ago, was wrapped up by Wagner.
Now the sense of urgency, if you can get a score right before the end of the third quarter or get in position to score at the beginning of the fourth quarter, then you can tell yourself you're only 2 possessions down.
Final minute of the third, facing a 3rd and 8. They back off with the pressure. And Heaps able to get it for a first down to Cody Hoffman, as now the young quarterback is finding a bit of a rhythm.
He is more comfortable in the hurry-up offense. Maybe it reminds him of being in high school or calling his own plays, but in the flow of it like this hurry-up stuff, he's much more comfortable.
Pressure off the edge. And he goes down all the way back at the 45-yard line. Hoskin quick to get to him. Levi Hoskin.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a screen. Hoskin from the bottom of the screen is able to just run by the lineman. And the whole timing and drop was off of him. I mean, the lineman didn't expect Heaps to be right there in the way of where he was pushing Hoskin.
And on that defensive note for the Aggies, the third quarter comes to an end. Cheers from Gary Anderson. We'll see what BYU can do when we return to Logan. Joe Tessitore, Ron Gilmore with you. There's Wild Bill, the ultimate Aggies fan. He was in Storm the Dorm. He's going to be leading the charge here to try to hold on and secure this upset win of the Cougars. 2nd and 22 after the sack of Heaps, the freshman quarterback. Looking for some magic here. As batted down by Chris Randall. McKay Jacobson was covered well by the senior cornerback.
We've seen that all night. This secondary has performed magnificently. Randall locked in man coverage, in great position to make a play on this ball. I mean, that's about the 3rd time tonight he's had his hands on the football, including a pick.
So 3rd and 22. 3 receivers to the near side for Jake Heaps. And he's going to have to call a timeout. Told you 12 games against Mountain West opponents now for Utah State that they've lost to. So they're trying to end a lot of streaks tonight. And of course, the Mountain West against the WAC. Obviously, a lot of chaos in the football offseason, and these were 2 of the conferences involved in it. As you know, Boise State made the decision that they're going to move over to the Mountain West. Utah to the Pac-10. BYU's going independent, and then more recently, Fresno and Nevada saying that they're going to move to the Mountain West. And by the way, there's some litigation involved there, Rod, and the point that the WAC is making is, hey, it's non-negotiable that you're staying in the conference for another year.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far that's going to go. I mean, my gut on it says that if this goes to court, the court's going to wind up saying, you know something, they can pay you some money for whatever damages you're caused by them leaving like this. And I think it's going to be unlikely that they will force them to stay in there. But, you know, stranger things have happened.
Well, I defer to you on legal issues. This is your insurance doctorate.
Can you imagine that scenario? You've got teams in the conference who don't want to be there. That's going to be difficult.
3rd and 22. And that is thrown out. And a penalty comes in late.
Yeah, they're going to get Coleman.
Roderick Coleman. Boy, you can see how upset Anderson is with that. He has to be brought back over to his team. But Roderick Coleman, on an overthrown ball that was out of bounds, comes in and draws the yellow hanky.
Well, you know, defenseless players will be protected. I think Anderson is arguing, hey.
After the play, personal foul, contact above the shoulders, number 27 of the defense, 15-yard penalty.
It looked like Anderson was saying, hey, wasn't catchable. No, this is a defenseless guy, out of bounds. He's looking up for the ball. There's not a play there, and we keep talking about this every week. The officials will protect defenseless players. No question about it.
BYU's over the ball, and Utah State's still trying to make defensive substitutions, but a fresh set of downs for BYU. Heaps over the middle, and it is incomplete as he tried to get it to Correa. You know, Rod, just to finish up that discussion about the WAC and expansion. So Fresno State and Nevada have been informed that their departure date is non-negotiable. They filed suit, but the WAC has identified 5 possible potential new members. Montana's on the short list. UT San Antonio, Larry Coker's down there, and Texas State. They all made presentations this week. They're looking for a minimum of 2 football-playing schools for the 2012 season. 2nd and 10. And this is intercepted. A miscommunication. Roderick Coleman, the player who was flagged moments ago, now gets the ball back for Utah State. You can see Coleman limping off the field as Heap's effort there just falls into the arms of Coleman.
Well, here's Coleman here, and there's nobody over here. Nobody gets out here. Perhaps he was thinking that was going to happen. I thought his arm got hit because this ball looks like a punt. I mean, there's nobody running deep. Coleman's the only guy there.
And now Spate. And a 9-yard run from Spate.
You know, you were talking about the WAC, and you named some of the teams that might come in. You see, this is what looks like the possibility for 2011, 2012. But if you're looking at other teams to come in, you've got an unsettled situation because you don't know when those other teams, Fresno State, Nevada, will be leaving. Hard to make a commitment to somebody who won't even be able to plan whether they can come in next year or the next year.
Burrell, and he gets the first down. And once again, the short list of potential teams as the crowd reacts here. And Gary Anderson is just incredulous to the fact that a flag didn't come in. But once again, Rod, the short list of teams that they're looking to add. Montana, that's had a lot of success in FCS. UT San Antonio, where Larry Coker is, and obviously the San Antonio market's very attractive if they can grow into something. And Texas State. What do you make of the possible expansion of those schools?
Well, most of those schools are trying to step up.
Right.
They've got to come up a level. I don't know that it is as compelling as what they're losing.
Burrell to pass. And just lofts it downfield.
Oh.
And Williams is down inside the 45 to the 44-yard line. A 21-yard reception.
How about the night Burrell was having?
He's played just so within himself and in control.
Well,
just leading this offense in every which way, on the ground with the option, and passing 9 out of 12 for 182 yards. And this is Spate.
Well, his 2 most impressive throws have been the passes he's made with touch, including that last one. He had one in the first quarter, perfectly thrown deep ball. Dave Baldwin couldn't be happier with the performance he's gotten tonight out of Burrell, and Burrell hasn't tried to do too much, just as Baldwin told him, said, let the game come to you, and he has.
Wildcat now with Spate. And he just spins for about a yard. Shane Hunter was in there. That was Dre Nyalei also coming in. Hard to believe this is the same team that a week ago against San Diego State only put a touchdown on the board.
Yeah, unbelievable. You know, I got some messages at halftime from John Makovic, our old buddy and old coach, and he was on Outside the Lines today. He's been watching the game. He says Burrell can play anywhere. Anywhere.
Marshall. Robert Marshall.
Yeah, you watch Denard Robinson at Michigan and what he does there, and he gets a lot of attention. Imagine Burrell, who has similar skills to Robinson, playing at a bigger place, another program. Would have gotten a lot more attention. He certainly put a scare in Oklahoma to start the season.
Burrell had 341 yards in that game against Oklahoma. 4th and 3 now. And looks back to the coach as the play clock continues to count down.
Delay of game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. It remains 4th down.
And that's fine by them. They are just looking to coast home here and secure what would be a significant win. And, you know, you talk about this game being a rivalry game, but the way BYU has controlled it in recent history, Coach Anderson has told his team this isn't a rivalry. It'll only be a rivalry if we win.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You don't see any of the Utah State fans heading for the exit, getting restless. They're still dialed into the ball game. Every play, every call, they're vocal. They want a win. They haven't had one in a long time.
High directional kick. And takes a bounce just inside the 20. Well, there's that big offensive line for the Aggies. They've opened up plenty of holes for Burrell and company. All right, Brian, thanks very much. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore back with you here in Logan. Utah State's been waiting a long time to grab a victory over BYU. Heaps. And that was incomplete through the arms of McKay Jacobson. Good coverage by Curtis Marsh.
Here's
So Jake Heaps,
coverage,
who many had as the #1 high school quarterback in the country a year ago.
Rough night tonight. 2 picks, 19 of 39, throwing an awful lot of passes. You'd prefer not to have your freshman quarterback throw that much.
Want to keep it easy on him. And that deflects and goes incomplete. There's never been a true freshman to start a game in their BYU career faster than Heaps, 4 games into his career. But some tough spots here.
Talk about freshman quarterback. I mean, last year Andrew Luck at Stanford with Toby Gerhardt in the backfield. Jim Harbaugh used Luck appropriately. He never had to throw it 45 times a game. That's the way you'd like to break in your quarterback if you can.
He's 0 for his last 5 through the air. Pressured, cannot escape it. Well, there is that learning curve among freshman quarterbacks, Rod. Stepping up in the pocket, releasing the ball fast. Devin Johnson was able to put some pressure on him. Junior Keaho got to him. Going to see another freshman quarterback tomorrow night make his debut. The much heralded Boston College recruit out of California, Chase Reddick, will be under the lights in prime time against Notre Dame. You just don't know what you're going to get with these guys.
Big time deal. Playing Notre Dame, night game, freshman butterflies.
Stevenson to punt from the 4. And Moats at the 40. Let's take a look back. Real time brought to you by Wendy's. DeAndre Burrell.
Don't be surprised at what this young man has done tonight. Big plays, big part of his game. He can do it on the ground as he did early on. And then he came right back with a big pass early on to Xavier Martin. Between the big plays and the short run for touchdowns, he has pretty much done it all night.
No turnovers. Utah State. 9 of 12, also 58 yards on the ground. A good balanced attack by the Aggies. Keeps it with Spate, and he goes right through the middle. Swerving Durbin to the 31-yard line. Brandon Bradley chased him down, but they are just gripping the middle of that BYU defense. Keep in mind, without their nose tackle, Romney Fuga, for the rest of the year, after he blew out his knee.
Oh, no Fuga in there, no Frazier at linebacker.
Pendleton and Rich were also injured tonight.
Yep. They've just been depleted on the defensive side.
217 rushing yards for the Aggies. Williams now gets the call, fights his way to the 30.
Number 25, Kerr Williams. On tackle for the Cougars.
See, Gary Anderson, told you he was in a neck brace as of a couple days ago. Took a bad fall at his house, hurt his neck, suffered a concussion, was checked out by plenty of doctors. He said, it's on me. I got to eat right. I have to watch my stress level as a head coach. I have to take care of myself. I think a lot of head coaches are getting this message after what's happened in the past year. Some well-documented cases of coaches and their health. 2nd and 9 now. Burrell is wrapped up for a loss. Good play by Jaden Wagner.
Gary Anderson's history in this state, pretty much raised here. He's a Utah grad. He's an assistant there. Southern Utah head coach. Went back to Utah under Kyle Whittingham for a few years before becoming the head coach over here.
And that will continue on with his son Keegan, who's a redshirt freshman playing here for the Aggies. Swings it out of the backfield. DiMartino takes a hit as he flies forward. Able to get out to the 25-yard line. Wale is able to get to DiMartino.
How many helmets have we seen come off tonight?
A lot.
You got to strap him up.
Travis Uwale, junior from Hawaii. It's actually a cousin to Utah State's backup quarterback, Jeremy Higgins. And a couple cousins playing opposite each other. Got a 4th and 4, and they're taking time off the clock. A 21-point lead for Gary Anderson and the Aggies. Been a long time coming to do this to BYU.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by the Capital One Cup. To learn more, go to CapitalOneCup.com. And Chick-fil-A, we didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
Well, we learned about the Scotsman in our Storm the Dorm feature. They're going to be doing that all night long here at Utah State. Up 21 on the rival BYU. Braden Loveless on to attempt a 42-yard field goal. He's a true freshman, made his first career field goal earlier tonight. And he is off the mark in his second career attempt. But trust me, there won't be much Loveless here in Logan. Not up 21 with 7:52 to go. Our friends at EA Sports giving us a preview of Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, and it's going to be a great one. Well, Michael James, the running back for Oregon, Andrew Luck, fabulous quarterback for Stanford. They are going to hook up number 4 versus number 9 on ABC or ESPN2 at 8 Eastern, because some of you are going to get Notre Dame and Boston College.
How about EA Sports having a touchdown pass to Chris Owusu?
Oh, Owusu, what a burner he is. Here's Heaps, and that is incomplete as he could not connect with Marcus Matthews. You know, tight end position for BYU. They lost 2 terrific tight ends. Dennis Pitta was a 4th-round pick of the Ravens. Andrew George was 2nd-team All-Mountain West.
I think I've counted 4 or 5 drop passes tonight.
BYU is in such a transition. Quarterback, tight end, center, and then all the injuries on defense. Heaps this time connects with Jacobson, and he is nailed by Curtis Marsh. Now get used to the name Jake Heaps, as you'll be hearing a lot of it. They're just letting him throw and throw and throw in his freshman season.
He's got a live arm and a very quick release. As we watched him on tape, that was the one thing that jumped out. That once he makes up his mind to let the ball go, it doesn't take long for it to come out.
Already 42 attempts. 3rd and 4. And he connects downfield, and he showed you that arm strength going hash mark to far boundary. As he got to McKay Jacobson, and McClinton had the coverage. That was a 16-yard gain, but the ball traveled a long way around.
And it was an effortless throw. He didn't have to really muscle up to get it out there.
Now going to run it himself. And Heaps has the first down. I want to remind you that after our game here in Logan, Sports Center will be coming up. John Anderson and Linda Cohn standing by with all the day in sports. Get you set for full Saturday of college football, plus the Ryder Cup. Live coverage of the Ryder Cup. It was delayed with rain. Will be happening in the middle of the night. Hoffman, and he's able to drive ahead to the 26-yard line, and another first down for BYU.
Sports Center next, John Anderson, Linda Cohn. I bet they do the Scotsman.
You think this Scotsman's
I think it's going to catch on. It's going to catch on.
Traditional fight song dance here at Utah State. Heaps chased out of the pocket. And it is off the hands of his intended target as he tried to get it out to the sideline. B.J. Peterson could not get a grasp of it.
I think there have been at least half a dozen drop passes. Ball on the money, but just dropped. And you know, when you've got a young quarterback, you need to help him out. You've got to make those catches.
You see that insipid look on Bronco Mendenhall, just emotionless. Not much to say on a night like this. Knows the harsh realities of what's in front of him with a freshman signal caller and the rash of injuries. Flag comes in. Heaps to the end zone. He is incomplete as he was trying to connect with Jacobson, but he couldn't stay in. And you've got an Aggie down, slow to get up. In the backfield was Chris Randall.
Well, they're going to get a holding. Yeah, and I think it was actually someone blocking on Chris Randall as he came into the backfield. He was taken down.
Holding. Number 75 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down will be repeated.
That was Braden Brown that they flagged, the right tackle.
BYU offense has struggled this year. Only 70 points on the season. Second down pass is incomplete, right through the hands of Luke Ashworth.
Well, that's about 3 drop balls on this drive. And they've got to be somewhere around 8 or so for the night. I mean, that's just right there. Way too many drop passes.
5:58 to go here. Now third down and 20. The line to make is all the way down at the 17-yard line. Third and 20.
Delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
I do like the intangibles with Heaps. Tough, encouraging, showing quarterback leadership. Hasn't gotten overly frustrated by guys dropping passes. Just comes right back to play the next play.
Third and 25 now. Throws a high bullet downfield. Was looking for Cody Hoffman. He's got a live arm, and he's got a good future ahead of him. But there are going to be some nights like this at this stage of his career.
It's just hard to watch BYU with the BYU we've known over the years. 70 points on the season. That's usually a game and a half.
Yeah, the BYU you knew just 12 months ago.
Right, exactly.
So fourth down and 25. Fourth and 25, and they need to get to the 17. Airs it up, and it falls incomplete. He had a better chance of having it intercepted than caught by Cody Hoffman. Curtis Marsh was waiting on it. So Heaps comes up empty. And Gary Anderson's team is 5:45 away from celebrating. No, the Scotsman just keeps going all night long. Right?
I told you it's going to catch on.
31-10. Last time Utah State beat BYU 1993. Hey, we got a piece of that goalpost up here. They brought it up to us.
Now, they're not going to go after the goalpost tonight, are they?
You know, it's a funny thing, Rod, because I know BYU is 1-3. They're 1-3, and you say, boy, are they? Is it really worthy of a goalpost kind of evening?
Well, I wouldn't think so. But you know, the fans haven't left. No one's really left.
I got news for you. I think it is a goalpost.
You think it's a goalpost night?
Just something. Listen, they've waited a long time here.
False start. Number 5 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now, I don't endorse this. I think, you know, kids can get hurt. It's not a good scene, but you could see down at field level the security up gathering.
Yeah.
1-3 versus 1-3. You don't have a lot of goalposts going down. This is a piece of the 93 goal.
Well, and they have it all over campus. I mean, almost everybody's got a piece of the one from 93.
So because of that, you know the atmosphere here, and you know the history of this rivalry, which they say isn't a rivalry. We never beat them. I think you could see them storming the field here tonight, believe it or not. And here's Williams. Those are the students behind the bench. They're not going anywhere, Ron. It's been a blowout for a long time in this game, and they're staying right to the end because they want to take it all in.
Maybe they just want to dance the Scotsman afterwards. I don't know. I think they're plotting it does look like they're somewhat plotting.
Now this guy's ready for it. He's got an old school. I think Merlin Olsen was playing here when they used those helmets there. The old Utah State Aggies helmets. Of course, Merlin Olsen, one of the greatest of all time. Back in 1961. All-American, as was his brother Phil. There is Merlin Olsen. Played here 59-61, a first-team All-American. Won the Outland Trophy, a 3-time academic All-American. Went on to that great 14-time Pro Bowl career with the Rams. Passed away this past March. One of the real good guys in sports.
And acting. Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, sure. Little House on the Prairie with Merlin Olsen.
Absolutely.
I'm dedicating a larger-than-life size statue to him here later on this year. This is the field that bears his name. And here's Burrell. DeAndre Burrell with a first down. He is shifty. That is the spot where the statue will be. Right end zone. Blair Buswell, who is a renowned sculptor who's done the busts at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, has put together this larger-than-life-size bronze statue of Merlin Olsen. It's going to be unveiled October 23rd, the game against Hawaii. Look at the size of that statue, Rod.
About the size of Merlin Olsen.
Not the size of that man's heart. The way he played, he deserves a statue that big. Spate with the carry here. Check that. That was Williams going up the middle to the 46.
Well, not only the statue, but the field being named after Merlin Olsen, also an appropriate tribute for a man who has meant everything to this program. He is the biggest star to come out of Utah State.
Reminder that John Anderson and Linda Cohn are going to be coming up with Sports Center. Busy day in sports with all that happened with the Soggy Ryder Cup over in Wales. They'll be coming on live on ESPN at 3 in the morning Eastern. And of course, John and Linda have all the latest with the baseball races and preview the day of college football. Pitch here to Spate. And he's down to the 39-yard line. And we are down to under 3 minutes to go here in Logan. 10 straight wins for BYU. Gary Anderson knows what this will mean in state. Hey, what this will mean to these fans, what this will mean to the WAC.
Okay,
it's taking it on the chin.
Are you officially saying you think they're going to storm the field? Because I think they're going to hold off and say, you know what, we've kind of arrived. We're a little better than that. We're not going to storm the field.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Burrell, first down. And they can close this. They loses the ball. Loses the ball there. BYU signaling that they have it. And they do. Yeah. And Burrell had the first down, looking to close out this game. Well, turns it over, and that is the first Utah State turnover as Dre Leai came up with it.
I'm not sure I even would be running Burrell at this juncture of the ball game in light of the number of injuries that Utah State has had. I wouldn't run him at all. You're up 21 late like this. He gives up the football. Clearly a fumble there, and a big night for Burrell. That last turnover, though, odd.
Hoffman with the reception here, just a minimal gain. Van Noy caused that fumble. For BYU, they are headed to 1-4. A BYU program in this modern era where they've had success under Mendenhall at 1-4. Last time they started a season like that, 1973. They haven't lost 4 straight since '93. Jacobson pushed out at the 40. Our playing favorites brought to you by Pizza Hut. How about the night that Bobby Wagner had?
Oh, man, I tell you, he affected so many plays. Yeah, 11 tackles, but more than that, he was affecting other plays, taking on a couple of blockers, disruptive up front.
And Heaps able to complete this ball. J.J. DeLuigi out of the backfield.
Hard to see this BYU team getting it together to get to the postseason. They still have TCU and Utah out there.
Heaps, this time to the 40 for Hoffman. 52 attempts by the freshman quarterback, Rod. 52.
That's 97 passes in the last 2 weeks. He may actually hit 100 here over the next 2 or 3 plays.
Just able to find Hofoka. Reminder, Saturday afternoon college football. Texas, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Michigan State, NC State off to a great start in ACC play. Saturday at 3:30. College football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, part of Tailgate Week on ABC or ESPN.
Get out of bounds, number 47 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Talk about this weekend. How about what Oklahoma State did last night in that battle with Texas A&M? A fantastic ball game.
That offense of Oklahoma State, oof, they are burning it up. With Whedon, Hunter, and Blackman, statistically, they're tearing it up. And is overthrown, looking for DeLuigi coming out of the backfield. 48 seconds to go. Jake Heaps, learning on the job, thrown into the mix. The starting quarterback for the first 3 games was Riley Nelson. He had season-ending shoulder surgery. So Heaps will take it from here for this BYU team that has a lot to overcome this season. A lot of turnover, many injuries. They added to that injured list tonight, and that is batted away as he looked for the slant. (27 of 55). 55 pass attempts, and Old Main and that Aggies A. It is white right now, but they will turn it blue with a win over their in-state rival.
I don't think that's the only thing that's going to happen. It looks like the students are starting to gather.
They show pressure up the middle against Heaps. He goes to the end zone, and a flag comes in. I think they're going to get an interference call here on Marsh, who picked off the ball, but he clearly had made contact.
Oh, yeah.
Rod, nobody's more tapped in than you on the Pac-10 scene, and especially Stanford, Oregon. Give us, before we go off the air, just one more take on the big game tomorrow night, Stanford, Oregon.
Well, I think both of those teams are better defensively than people realize.
Pass interference. Number 23 of the defense. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
And I think that the notion that it's simply going to be one of these 50 to 40 ball games, I'm not sure that's the case. Oregon really good on the up front, back end also on their defense. And Stanford, their linebackers are playing great on the corner. Richard Sherman stepping up, playing great corner. I think both those teams are going to play better defensively than people expect. And the real question will be, can Stanford handle that environment with all of the attention that will be focused on that place?
No, the real question was actually moments ago when you said, do you really think they're going to storm the field and take down the goalpost? Rod, they're already climbing down to position.
I was wrong.
What a week it's been for Gary Anderson. Remember, he took a fall at home back on Monday, suffered a concussion, was lightheaded, had to be checked out medically before he was cleared to come out here, and let loose with all the emotion. He has spent a good chunk of his career in Utah with the Utah Utes, with Southern Utah, defensive coordinator with the Utes again, and now the head coach at Utah State. This means the world to him to beat BYU.
Absolutely. He was almost required to wear a neck brace tonight. He told us yesterday, you know I was not going to go out on the field with a neck brace on. I couldn't look like that out there. Emotional week, talking to his team after he got out of the hospital on Tuesday. Wanted to make sure they knew he was okay. And finding out that he hadn't been paying attention and taking care of himself, and also that he hadn't had a physical in 20 years.
Luigi, touchdown, BYU. So they let the freshman quarterback bring his team down the field. Listen, the snaps that he can get now are going to pay off. It's like putting deposits in the bank for Jake Heaps and this young BYU team.
No question about it, but watch the second effort by DiLuigi. He stopped now, but the second effort to roll in kept fighting to get into the end zone.
Now they're going to close this thing potentially with this extra point to 14, and it is blocked, so it stays as a 15-point margin. But Rod, you look up at that scoreboard and it may not even reflect what took place tonight, because Utah State every which way has controlled this game. What we saw here in the fourth quarter was just trying to get the development of Jake Heaps. It's been since 1993 that Utah State has experienced this, a victory over BYU. A lot of subplots here. The whack against the Mountain West. BYU going independent next year. All the transition with the Cougars. I asked you this. What does this mean for the rest of the year with BYU? Where are things headed here? What's the best case scenario?
You know, this was such a thorough beating by Utah State. They ran the ball up and down. BYU's got to get healthy. They got to get healthy and get some key players back. Otherwise, I think this will be a real tough year. They still have TCU and Utah out there, and Wyoming, Air Force. This team is really in danger of not making it to the postseason. Take a look at that schedule.
Number 5 and number 13.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough way to go.
How about the San Diego State offense, the way they've been playing?
Yeah, I mean, they lost Air Force. Wyoming is still out there for them. I mean, they're staring at least 3 tough games out there.
And soon enough, it'll be a 4-game losing streak for Bronco Mendenhall's squad. They haven't done that since '93. And that was the year that Utah State beat them. Payne and Stevenson, both kickers out here as they go with the onside kick. And they're able to recover it. Landon Jassi, a flag is down. We'll see what the call is. That was a well-placed kick that he ran down.
Well, you can't advance an onside kick like that anyway.
Offside. Number 17 of the kicking team. The ball will be re-kicked after administration of a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, it looks like it was a couple of people. You had the kicker with his left foot out front, and then the guy on the bottom on the right side was also beyond the line of scrimmage. You could have flagged either one of those guys. And how about these guys?
I think they're ready.
Oh, more than ready. They're out of the stands and on the sideline now.
Security has no shot against the Aggie fans tonight. And that is tapped out. So 29 seconds away from celebrating. Sure, a lot of folks out there have never been to Logan, may not know this Utah State program, but trust me, these are passionate fans that have waited a long time. The 80th meeting of this rivalry. It started all the way back in 1922. And for the better part of all the recent years, BYU has dominated. Way back when in '93, Utah State won it 58-56 in a thriller. Tonight, they just dominated straight through. As Gary Anderson's got a big smile on his face, and the Aggies have the win they've been waiting 17 years for. How about the week for Gary Anderson? On Monday, he had to go to the hospital. He took a bad fall. Midweek, he was in a neck brace. He was cleared by doctors to be down at field level with his team, and they bring home a signature win for this program, taking out their in-state rivals. Even as much as BYU is struggling, it means the world to Utah State to grab this. We told you, Old Main, it turned blue. The oldest building on campus. They only do that on the most special of occasions. You can mark down this night as being special.
And how appropriate is that? DeAndre Burrell being lifted on the shoulders of the fans and teammates after the night he had. He deserves a ride.
Well, some feel that this program is ready to go to the next level. They have good facilities, passionate fans, a prime location that they feel they can take advantage of recruiting. And this win will help in-state and in the region. DeAndre Burrell did his thing tonight. 10 of 13, 192 yards passing and a touchdown. Also did well on the ground for 68 yards and a touchdown. And Coach Anderson and his wife Stacy will be celebrating 31-16. Coming up next is Sports Center with John Anderson and Linda Cohn. For Rod Gilmore and our entire crew, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night, including Sports Center with John and Linda right now.